Welcome to the Phoenix Prosperity Podcast, where wealth meets legacy. Join your host, Tim Fergestad, as we explore the journeys of Phoenix's finest to success and beyond.
Hello, this is Tim Fergestad. Thank you for joining us. I'm very pleased to have Kristin Hege with me here today. Kristin is the founder and CEO of Convey Communications, a leading business-to-business tech communications firm that works with some of today's most innovative companies in software as a service. Kristin is a long-standing board member for the Public Relations Society of America's Phoenix chapter and is board chair of Support My Club, a nonprofit that fulfills the needs of local school clubs and teams. Very cool. Welcome to the show, Kristin.
Hi, thanks for having me.
All right, there's a lot of other stuff there we can unpack, but first, why don't you give me a snapshot of Convey?
Yeah, so you did a good job saying there, reading that we are a full focus PR and communications agency, and we focus mainly on B2B tech and services companies. So prior to the call, you called yourself a nerd. I'm kind of the same, talk tech all day and love doing that. So we do everything from media relations to, keynote speeches to podcasting to social, all of the things in between, with a focus on just making sure that they're conveying their message appropriately and getting out to their customers.
Okay. Who are your sort of typical clients?
Well, locally here in Phoenix, we work with WebPT. We work with In Revenue Capital, we're a VC firm here in Phoenix. We have a lot of clients, in California, just by nature of our business. We also have some in Canada is getting quite the B2B tech scene these days. So we have quite a few clients up there as well. So we're kind of all over the board. But yeah.
But based here in Phoenix?
Based here in Phoenix. We have employees from other states as well. I have to cover both time zones, but yeah, we're based here in Phoenix. Okay.
And how long has the company been running?
I was just doing the math the other day because I continue to forget, and we're embarking on our 12th year. Okay,
very cool. Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
What is there a type of niche business that really needs your help, and how do they usually come to you? When do they realize they need Kristin and Convey?
I'd say that growth stage company. I mean, we like to work with startups, but sometimes that money is better spent on sales and marketing and building their internal teams than PR straight away. So growth stage, they're out there, they're trying to either expand their footprint, from different countries, or they're just wanting to expand from, mid-market to enterprise, or they got a 5-year IPO goal, those types of things. So we're a great niche for a mid-stage, growth stage company.
Okay. And so is the goal for most of them brand awareness? Is it what are most of their reasons for reaching out to Convey?
Yeah, a lot of it's brand awareness. A lot of it is support, not to get too geeky, but within the funnel of their buyers. So a lot of our clients sell to enterprise, which is a really long sales cycle. It can take, because they're expensive software, it can take a year for them to make that decision. So from awareness to conversion, we have to help deliver stories all the way along the funnel to build that trust. So that's what we do. So it's really understanding. We have to go in and really understand their go-to-market motions and how their customers purchase their software or services, whatever it is that they're doing, and make sure we're educating along the way.
Okay. Before we get into a little bit of the details about how you do that, tell me a little bit more about,
Go for it. It's okay.
There's competition in the space. What sort of makes you guys unique or special?
Okay, good question. Believe it or not, there are very few firms that focus only on technology. There's a lot of firms, big, wonderful firms that say that they can take anybody. If you were a hotel or a restaurant, no matter how big and great you were, I wouldn't take you because I wouldn't know where to start as
Okay.
far as PR goes. So for us, we have a really good, I'm proud of our track record of that niche, that B2B tech. So we've had some clients 10 plus years, which is unheard of in the services world. um, so that's something we're proud of. And I'm blessed to say we haven't had to do any marketing. Everything we've come has either been from referrals or,
Nice.
the CMO has moved from here to there and now they bring us along with them. And so the way that we approach
That's a pretty good testament to right there, right? So,
yeah. We approach our accounts and I'm like, I would say almost um sometimes too hyper focused on and building the relationship with the client that when and this has happened multiple times and it just makes my day when I'm talking to someone else within the company and they're like, oh, we thought you worked here. Like, they didn't know that we were
right,
external, right? Because
right,
vendors are replaceable. And so the way that I train our teams and really, enforce is how can we be valuable every day, even if it's not in that subline of the scope of work, that builds a
right.
relationship that they go, no matter where I work, I want to take Convey with us. And blessed enough to have been able to do that.
Okay. And that market seems like a good market or good space to be in. It seems to
Mhm.
be going strongly and not slowing down.
Yes, software will never go away.
Right. So on that note, before we get into the details again, uh, what has been your growth so far, and what are your goals for 25?
For 25, actual growth numbers, I should know that as my founder. I mean, I do know we've grown steadily, probably 30% year over year,
Oh,
which is
wow.
really good.
Excellent. That's very good.
Um, yeah, it's pretty good. And I like to do that by maintaining not new business, but we're building on the current business that we have. And so that's my goal is to always build the current relationships stronger, not taking everybody that's walking through the door, but not passing on, good opportunities there. So we've grown from when I started, it was myself, and now we've got 9 full-time. And I think I was doing the math before the part-time contractors and stuff. I've about an additional 6 or 7 that
Okay.
work with
How did
us.
COVID affect you?
It sounds terrible to say, but it was very good for business for us.
Okay. That's what I
Um,
would expect.
yeah, because people had to do less with more and they looked to software for that. So I was already remote. I was remote before remote was cool. And so people needed teams. They needed to sell their
Right.
software faster. So
Okay.
it
Excellent. I'm
actually
sorry.
was good for us.
Right. Okay. So you were about to, I think, go into 25 goals and moving forward.
Yeah, for 25 goals, I have my goals are less about revenue, although that's wonderful. But I'm really trying to diversify our offerings a little bit more. There's a lot of things in like the world of influencer relations that we found some white space in that a lot of agencies aren't doing in the B2B space. It's huge in B2C, less in B2B. So
Okay.
I'd like to, obviously continue to grow, but really diversify some of the things that we have traditionally been providing as a PR firm, and making our clients and prospects think beyond the things that they would come to us for, because it just fits that we would manage those things. So that's my 2025 goal is not necessarily
Okay.
growth in finances, but growth in services.
Sure. Okay. Well, it's a good transition to get into the weeds. So let's
Yeah.
talk about the different ways you do sort of grow brand awareness for your clients.
Yeah. A lot of it with software is a different animal because it is you remember back in the day, I don't know how geeky in software you are, but you could go to like Computer World and get a full write-up on this software, and this is what Microsoft Word does for you. And that was
Right.
really great. But those are few and far between. You're not getting write-ups in softwares because there's hundreds and hundreds of thousands of them out there. So it's not as easy as it used to be. So a lot of things in B2B is relying upon thought leadership. So getting your clients published, their opinion pieces published in Forbes and Fast Company and all of
Okay.
those things. So we do a ton of that, a ton of speaking, at conferences, making sure that they're talking where their buyers are. Awards, so being
Okay.
an attractive best places to work, helping with awards for
Sure.
recruitment all the way to product awards. Um, the media, making sure that the media, if they need a resource, they're calling your client. You want to be top of mind to them. That's 60% of what we're doing is pitching the media every day, trying to get news coverage for our clients, and the rest is
Hmm.
on that thought leadership scale and content.
Okay. Is there a particular type of media or places you want to have them represented specifically for other businesses compared to like retail?
Yeah, it depends on the goal. So if we're trying to please a board and we're trying to get to IPO, then we're going to go to that top tier. Like everybody wants Wall Street Journal, everybody wants
I
New York
see.
Times. But really what truly moves the needle, and once you get past that, I don't want to say ego and saying that's bad. Everybody should want that. It's a great goal, but it's few and far between reality for some
Okay.
people. Is that second tier like trade publications. So if you're selling to I don't know, if you're selling construction software, you want your product to be written up in places where construction people are reading, right? So we need to find the publications where the customers are. And that's where you really see a true ROI on the efforts of media. So it's kind of the goal. If you want it, but depending on what the goal is, customer acquisition, or you want to make sure your CEO is winning awards because they're really they're great and they should be out there talking about their entrepreneur story. That's a
Right.
completely different set of media that we'd be reaching out to.
I see. Right. Okay. Okay. How did you get involved with the Public Relations Society of America?
Ah,
And then we can talk about the Support My Club later, but stay a little bit more on the business side for a moment.
yeah, yeah. Well, PRSA it's a wonderful organization. There's local chapters all over. I actually need to update that bio because I'm no longer a board member, but I was a very long time board member, multiple
Sure.
years. And it basically is a group of really well networked public relations people that are in it to support each other and continuing education. There's conferences both on the national and local level every year. So it's definitely, if you're in PR, it's the organization to belong to.
Okay. Okay. That was my next question. Okay. So
Hmm.
it's a good one. It's okay. Very cool. So on that vein, what are some of the biggest challenges in your industry and in your career that you've had to overcome?
Um, the biggest challenge right now, and probably always, is the journalist. Well, there's twofold. There's client challenges, and then there's like execution of work challenges. So newsrooms are shrinking. I don't know if you see all the time, like Wall Street Journal or CNN or whomever. They're laying off 100 people in the newsrooms, and we've gone from a certain type of journalism to clicks, right? And
Right.
they're being charged to write for clicks. It's not even on the journal, it's what their job description is. And so pitching stories for that is different than it was
Sure.
prior. And if you can imagine in Phoenix, we have one tech reporter in the entire city, and we have a ton of tech companies. Can you imagine
Right.
the amount of emails Amy gets on a daily basis from
Right.
people, right? So there's one tech reporter in the whole city. So if you take that and amplify it to someone at like Wall Street Journal or, your bigger ones, and everybody wants to be in there, right? So you have, I would guess, 300 emails a day from people like myself, and not all of them are good, right? Not all
Right.
of those emails are good, and not all of them are relevant. There's some really bad PR out there. So cutting through the noise and getting those emails opened and getting your client noticed is getting harder and harder because there's less and less people at the desk. Um, it's just the truth of the way that the industry is going. So a lot of people are moving to things like earned media and paying for it as opposed to earning it with PR. So that's always going to be a challenge. We have clients doing AI right now. You think about the amount of reporters emails or the AI reporter emails they're getting. I wouldn't even, they probably have alerts turned off because of many times people trying to reach out to them. So standing out in crowded markets is a challenge.
Okay. And is that coming back to old school relationships and trying to get in front of them in person?
Yeah, right now we have a client in San Francisco who's doing awesome AI, and it's just hard because they're a startup. They're not like crazy, crazy funded. They're funded well, but they're not,
Mhm.
$500 million funded. And so it's harder for them to get noticed. So we're doing a campaign right now where we wrote the emails for them, and they're individually reaching out to the reporters and asking them for coffee in person in San
Right.
Francisco. And like, there's no control issue for us. Like, we just want the meetings to happen. So we're telling them who to reach out to and those types of things to try to build the relationships that way because the other ways are getting harder.
Right. Okay. Okay. And now how about you personally in your career? So any particularly large challenges you've had to overcome?
Um, I have a problem with saying yes to everything.
Yes.
Over servicing contracts is something that I deal with, but I also believe in the value of relationships, and that has never, thank you, Lord, has not come back to bite me yet. The clients see it. But because of that, I can't be everywhere at once. So the best lesson I've learned is that I can't duplicate myself. I've always believed in hiring for my weaknesses, but also like trying to find someone else that does the things well that I do too is always, it's every founder's lot, right? Not
Sure.
duplicating yourself, but trying to find a way to do it.
Sure. A lot of great successful company leaders, Steve Jobs, Richard Branson, right?
Hmm.
He's saying no and being focused is one of his
Yeah.
superpowers. Another one, though, with a guy with over 100 companies, is delegation.
Yeah. Yeah. That is really what we have to have. And I have two kids, and my husband and I are active in other things. And so if I want to have balance, I always say, I tell my employees, like, I'm more than my job. I love my job and I love Convey. It allows me to do what I get to go and love to do, like spend time with my family and do things.
Right.
So we have to figure out our day in such a way that we can go and do things and not become our job. It's very easy to do that as a founder, but that's not the memories I want my kids to have.
Sure, sure. Yeah, it's not easy being successful. Trying to prioritize the proper things.
Yeah.
Speaking of meaningful work, tell me about Support My Club.
Yeah. I don't know if you this I don't know. I should have said this. I didn't know you. I apologize. They actually just shut down. So I
Oh
don't know if you
no.
want to cut
Okay.
that off. Not in a bad way. It got rolled into another nonprofit. So probably best to
Okay.
not bring that one up.
Oh, all right. All right. Well, it sounds like a good endeavor, and hopefully it'll continue on in
Hmm.
its new form.
Yeah.
Because yeah, supporting the kids' activities and clubs is crazy
Oh,
important.
it's so important.
Okay, excellent. So any other particular impact you're hoping to have here in Phoenix specifically? It's a Phoenix Prosperity podcast. I like to
Yeah.
ask
Yeah. Yeah.
about
Yeah.
the are you global or just national for the convey?
I mean, global seems silly to me to say, but we do have Canada, and we do have clients that have offices in London
All
and,
right,
and
you're
things like that.
global.
I'm
All
global. Look
right.
at me. Yeah, I'm global.
Okay.
I'm not teaching at ASU right now for this semester, but I do love to teach there. I have the opportunity to teach the PR writing class there, and something that's important to me, is I see some of these students come in and they think they know, as far as interns before I started teaching, they think they know what they're getting into with PR. They think it's,
Right.
ribbon cuttings and Sex in the City type, things and fun and but realistically it's a lot of grunt work. And so I
Sure.
started teaching because of that reason. I actually wanted to give real world, this is what you're going to get into, and really help them hone in on, is this what I want to do, before they before they graduate. So I teach PR writing at a 400 level, so it's seniors and grad students and
Okay.
some juniors, but really going in with a different perspective of, okay, this is what it really is. Like, I know what the books say and I know I get it and you're getting great education, but this is when rubber meets the road, type of
Right.
thing. So it's not necessarily a big definition of giving back where people would think it, but for me, it's feeding
Yeah.
into the industry of the ones that are coming to graduate, because I spent too many years hiring interns that were like, oh, now I
Right.
see.
Oh, yeah. I think that's awesome. Thank you for being a teacher. That's
Yeah.
that's super valuable.
Yeah.
So you mentioned that the majority of it is the grind, the tough work. I don't remember who said it, but it was like 80 to 90% of success is the sucking,
Hmm.
is the
Totally.
grind, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't appreciate that, particularly when they're starting out and they haven't um, yeah, haven't they see everybody looks like an overnight success, right?
Yeah.
But really everything one's like a 10-year overnight success.
Yeah. One of my assignments was, and even though it was a writing class, I had them pretend they were interviewing each other, and then they had to figure out how to make that cut, cut the quick interview for B-roll for a news station.
Right.
And I had one student, he's like, I don't understand why we do this. This is not what we're going to school for. I'm like, no, this is exactly what you're going to school for, because there will be a reporter that will say that they're going to show up, but then there's a crash and they have to cover the crash, but they still want the interview. And can you just cut it for them? And you have to figure it out, you know? And so really it was a funny moment for sure.
Right. Right. Okay. Okay. Well, it sounds like things are going well for you and
Mhm.
Convey. Looking to the future, uh,
Mhm.
a lot of people are looking for how they can continue to keep their prosperity going forward, right? So
Mhm.
create some passive income to enhance or even replace their current active income. What are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I mean, personally, my husband and I are looking to get our first vacation rental. That's
Ah,
something that has been a goal for us. We want to have a couple of those for, the future and for our children. So that's something we're personally working for.
sure. Can I
Um,
ask where? Are they local
yeah,
here? Is it
well,
like a business play locally here, or is it where you like to go on vacation?
it's where I like to go on vacation. So we always go. We met in South Carolina and we met in Myrtle Beach. So I want to buy there. We
Very
go there
nice.
every year. And every year, I spend the month of July there with my
Oh,
boys.
that's a
I can
good
work.
play living in Phoenix.
Yeah, exactly. I can work from anywhere. They don't, they can't do anything out in the summer anyway. They can't be outside. So instead, they spend time at the beach. So when I started my business, that is what I said I was going to do, and that was the promise to the family. So we've been doing it
Awesome.
for 13 years. We've been going to the beach every
Very
year for
cool.
a month.
We
Um,
we we go to we rent we've been renting like the same house for a dozen years in Cardiff by the Sea over by north of San Diego, little
yeah,
surf server town. So very similar, but
yeah,
uh,
it's the same thing.
I'm
And
paying somebody else. I'm not making
right,
money with it when I'm not
right.
using it.
And I want to stop doing that, right? I want to stop doing that. I want to be able to get it, enjoy it, bless other people with it, allow them to go and use it as well, but to have it to pass down for our kids. So real estate is definitely something personally we want to do. Professionally, I do know that there is a software that's needed in PR. I just am not ready to build it yet.
Okay.
So there are some things, that I think I'll branch out to professionally, but right now I'm happy where I'm at.
Well, I'm sure you have the contacts to develop some
I
software.
might know a few people. That is true.
Okay, excellent. Well, as we're wrapping up the interview, I was wondering if there's any particular initiatives or future plans the next 12 months or something, 18 months that you're wanted to
Um,
share.
no, I mean, I'm looking to hire a couple more great account managers. So anyone that wants to or is in B2B tech, let me know that might be
Okay.
listening. So I think, like I talked about, growing services options and probably two more team members would be a really great button up of 2025 for us.
Okay. Yeah, sounds great. That's
And
great.
that rental
Well,
house, of course.
right, right. So, what do you wish you knew sooner about building wealth and success?
Hmm. I wish I understood that not everybody wanted to be a boss. That
Okay.
the way that employees work, and my employees are great. I'm not talking current employees, but everybody, there's a work ethic. Is that people talk about work ethic, and that's not it. And it's so silly to think, because if everybody wanted to be a boss, there'd be no employees.
Sure.
But I know I was born to do it, so I've always worked like wherever I worked, it was my own, and that's
Okay.
not everybody's
It's not
no,
common.
it's not common, but it's just the only way I've ever known. So, silly me thought that that's how people thought. So understanding motivations
Right.
and what, the goals of the individual as employees. It's not work ethic, and that's what so many people talk and say that's what it is. They work their butts off, they just don't want to be the boss, right? So
Well,
that
it's
understanding that
sure,
is different.
sure. Good point. It's something that, particularly with AI growing and doing a lot more work and stuff, everybody talks more and more about the human element. And I heard
Hmm.
IQ will get you hired, but EQ will get you promoted.
Yeah, it's true.
Seems to be emotional intelligence is crazy important, and particularly with different
Hmm.
generations in the space, and they're all
Hmm.
they're all motivated by different things, and trying to understand that and communicate with them is very important.
Yeah, I mean, I grew up in the Midwest. It was you do what you're supposed to do, and this is you do. You don't question it. You go to work and you do your thing, and
Right.
so it's different, when managing people. and understanding their motivators. And I wish I would have known that a little earlier because I could have trained people a lot faster.
Sure. Can I ask if you use a particular system? Do you have people do like just a disc profile, or do you have different ways to figure out the best way to interact with your colleagues?
I wish there was a particular system because our team is small. It's really important for us that, one thing I've realized that in order for them to work in the team culturally, they have to love the work. And because our work is so niche, I had someone quit once and she was wonderful. And she just said, Kristin, I do not get up every day for analytic software like you do. She's like, I hate this stuff. And I laughed, and, it was great. It was a good amicable parting, but you have to like that first. And so for us, I had to make sure that you can be a great employee and you can work really great dynamically with the team. But if you don't love the work, it's going to be a drain. It really is. You can't just adapt to this work. And so for me, I kind of do it the other way. Will you love this work? Do you like this type of thing? Now let's figure out, as far as the profile, how it's going to work for us.
Okay. You touched on another important point there too, I think, which is a lot of people aren't thrilled with their jobs, so they work to live. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Their job is for their handful of vacation time throughout the year.
Yeah.
Whereas I think a better balance is people who like what they do and vacation is just a way to recharge so they can go back to their life.
Yes.
Because that's where you're spending all your time anyway.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. And I think that's where people talk about maybe a growth plan. Like for me, I never want to not be involved in the accounts, which is a little different for some people. But I like to be involved so that I can look at my team. I said to someone the other day, hey, I want you to take Friday afternoon off. I can tell, like, you've been working your tail off all week. I need you to take Friday off, just because she earned, it's not even earning it. She needed it. And being able to do those type of things. I don't want to be so far removed that I can't pay attention to that. And so, I don't want 20 employees. It's not the goal for me as a business. It's not where my sweet spot would be as a leader. And so to be able to do those and see those things and really tap in, I don't want to trust that to anyone else.
Sure. You want a smaller team of A players.
Yes.
Absolutely. Awesome. Very good. So great stuff, Kristin. If people would like to connect with you or learn more about you and Convey, what should they do?
LinkedIn is always good, or just my email is Kristin, Kristin, at conveypr.com. Would be happy to reach out.
Okay, excellent. All right. Well, thank you everyone for watching and listening. Thank you very much, Kristin Hege, for joining me today. We appreciate you sharing your story and insights into success and public relations and this interesting time in the economy.
Thanks for having me.
Inspired by our guests? Visit phoenixprosperitypodcast.com/guest and join us on the show and share your success story with Tim. The spotlight awaits.